In the shadow of a grand royal palace, a royal guard stood like a statue, his red tunic pristine and his bearskin hat perched perfectly atop his head, embodying a tradition of discipline that seemed unshakable. Tourists gathered around, snapping photos and whispering in awe at his stillness, a silence so profound it felt almost sacred. Then came the thug, broad-shouldered, loud and brash, pushing through the crowd with heavy footsteps, his voice cutting through the plaza like a jagged blade. "What's the matter, big guy? Too scared to talk?" he sneered, circling the guard with a predator's swagger, his taunts growing sharper as he jabbed a finger into the soldier's shoulder and shoved him hard enough to make the crowd gasp. Yet the guard didn't flinch. His eyes remained fixed forward, his body steady as stone, even when the thug knocked his hat askew, a bold move that felt like a violation of something timeless. To the thug, this silence was weakness, a chance to mock louder, to declare, "You're nothing, just a puppet in a funny hat." But for those watching, it was something else entirely, a display of strength rooted in restraint. The guard's refusal to react wasn't cowardice. It was control, a mastery honed through years of training to stand firm no matter the provocation. This discipline held until the thug turned his aggression on an elderly veteran, raising a fist to strike. Only then did the guard break his stillness, intercepting the blow with iron precision, proving that true strength isn't about answering every insult. It's about enduring, waiting, and acting only when it matters most. In that moment, his silence became a testament to a power deeper than words or fists could ever reach. Under the golden glow of a late afternoon sun, the royal guard stood motionless at his post, a towering figure of tradition clad in a red tunic and bearskin hat, his silence a shield against the world. Tourists milled around the palace gates, their cameras clicking as they marveled at his unwavering composure, a stillness that seemed to defy distraction. Then the plaza's calm shattered with the arrival of a thug, stocky, unkempt, and brimming with arrogance, his heavy footsteps pounding the cobblestones as he shoved his way through the crowd. "Look at this guy," he bellowed, his voice thick with disdain. "Standing there like some statue, too scared to talk?" He circled the guard, jabbing a finger into his chest, shoving his shoulder, and even knocking his hat askew, each act a taunt meant to provoke. The guard's face remained a mask of calm, his gaze locked forward, absorbing the insults without a flicker of response. To the thug, this was proof of weakness, a chance to crow. "You're nothing, just a puppet." But the guard's silence wasn't about pride, it was about duty, a vow to protect that went beyond personal ego. The crowd watched, tense and whispering, as the thug's mockery escalated. Yet the guard stood firm, his restraint a fortress. That changed in an instant when an elderly veteran stepped forward, silver-haired and steady, his calm voice cutting through the chaos. "That's enough." The thug whirled, his smirk twisting into a snarl, and raised a fist to strike the older man, a defenseless figure who'd already given so much in service. Before the blow could land, the guard's hand shot out, seizing the thug's wrist midair with a grip like steel, his towering frame now a shield between the veteran and harm. "That's enough," he said, his voice low and steady, forcing the thug back with controlled power. In that moment, his duty crystallized, not to defend his own honor against petty taunts, but to safeguard the vulnerable, to uphold a higher purpose. As he pinned the thug down, he declared, "My duty is to protect," proving that true loyalty lies in action for others, not reaction for oneself. In the heart of a bustling plaza, framed by the timeless majesty of a royal palace, a royal guard stood as a sentinel of tradition, his red tunic crisp and his bearskin hat a proud emblem of duty. The crowd, tourists with cameras and curious onlookers, gathered around, captivated by his stillness, a quiet that seemed to hum with unspoken resolve. That peace fractured when a thug stormed in, his broad frame, cutting through the throng, his voice a grating assault. "What's the matter, big guy?" Too scared to talk. He taunted relentlessly, circling the guard, jabbing his chest, shoving his shoulder, and knocking his hat askew with a boldness that drew gasps from the onlookers. The guard remained a statue, his face unyielding, his silence a wall against the barrage of insults. You're nothing, just a puppet in a funny hat, the thug sneered. But honor, as the scene unfolded, wasn't in loud rebuttals. It was in what the guard did next. When an elderly veteran, silver-haired and steady, stepped forward to call out the thug. "That's enough!" The bully turned his venom on the older man, raising a fist to strike. In a heartbeat, the guard's stillness shattered. His hand darted out, seizing the thug's wrist midair with iron precision, his towering figure now a barrier of protection. The crowd froze, then murmured in awe as he forced the thug back, twisting his arm and bringing him to his knees with calm, practiced strength. "That's enough," he said, his voice a low rumble of authority, followed by, "You've crossed the line. This ends now." He didn't gloat or posture. He acted swiftly, decisively, to shield the veteran, then held the thug until security arrived. "My duty is to protect," he stated, his words sparse but heavy with meaning, a quiet declaration that echoed louder than the thug's bluster ever could. The veteran's shaky "thank you" and the crowd's applause spoke to the truth. Honor isn't proclaimed in shouts or swagger. It's forged in the courage to stand firm, to intervene when it matters, and to let actions carry the weight of integrity. In that plaza, the guard's deeds outshone every empty taunt, proving honor's brilliance lies in its silence until called to shine. Beneath the towering silhouette of a royal palace, a royal guard stood resolute, his red tunic a vivid splash against the gray stone. His bearskin hat perched high as tourists gathered, their whispers weaving a tapestry of awe around his stillness. That reverence splintered when a thug barged through the crowd, his heavy steps and broad shoulders carving a path of disruption. "Look at this guy," he jeered, his voice sharp with mockery. "Too scared to talk?" He paced before the guard like a restless beast, jabbing his chest, shoving his shoulder and knocking his hat askew, each act a dare to break the soldier's silence. The guard's eyes stayed fixed ahead, his body unmoved, a pillar of restraint against the thug's escalating taunts. "You're nothing, just a statue." The thug's aggression painted him as bold, but beneath it lay cowardice, a hollow need to dominate through noise and force. The crowd tensed, parents clutching children, onlookers whispering nervously. Yet the guard's calm held firm, courage in the face of provocation. Then an elderly veteran emerged, his silver hair glinting, his voice steady as he said, "That's enough." The thug whirled, his smirk twisting into a snarl, and raised a fist to strike the older man, a cheap shot at someone weaker, the mark of a coward seeking easy prey. In an instant, the guard's stillness vanished. His hands snapped out, seizing the thug's wrist midair with unyielding strength, his frame a shield for the veteran. "That's enough," he said, his tone low and firm, forcing the thug back and twisting his arm until he crumpled to his knees. "Strength is about knowing when to act," the guard later told him, "not shouting the loudest or picking on those who can't fight back. That's cowardice." The thug's bravado dissolved, his struggles feeble as security hauled him away, head bowed under the crowd's disapproving stares. Meanwhile, the guard's quiet resolve, unshaken by insults, unleashed only to protect, stood as true courage, a stark contrast to the thug's bluster. The veteran's gratitude and the crowd's applause affirmed it. Bravery isn't loud or reckless. It's deliberate, selfless, and steadfast, exposing the thug's aggression as the frail posturing of a coward undone by a hero's restraint. In the shadow of a majestic royal palace, a royal guard stood as a beacon of discipline, his red tunic gleaming under the sun, his bearskin hat a symbol of unwavering tradition. Tourists buzzed around, their cameras capturing his stillness, a quiet that seemed to command the plaza, until a thug shattered the peace. With loud steps and a swaggering frame, he stormed through the crowd, his voice dripping with scorn. "What's the matter, big guy? Too scared to talk?" He taunted the guard relentlessly, shoving his shoulder, jabbing his chest and knocking his hat askew, each jab a test of the soldier's resolve. The guard remained a statue, his silence unshaken even as the thug sneered. "You're nothing." The crowd watched, tense and murmuring, but the scene shifted when an elderly veteran stepped forward. Silver-haired and steady, he carried the weight of years, scars of service etched into his lined face, and spoke with calm authority. That's enough. The thug turned, his mockery now aimed at the older man, and raised a fist to strike, a cruel move against someone whose battles were long past. Before the blow could land, the guard sprang into action, his hand catching the thug's wrist midair with iron precision, his towering figure shielding the veteran from harm. "That's enough," he said, his voice a steady anchor, forcing the thug back and pinning him down with controlled strength until security arrived. The veteran, shaken but unharmed, looked up with trembling gratitude. "Thank you. You reminded all of us what it means to stand for something." In that moment, the guard's intervention restored more than safety. It reaffirmed the veteran's dignity, a respect he'd earned through decades of sacrifice yet rarely felt in the quiet years since. As the thug was led away, head low under the crowd's disapproval, the veteran lingered, his gaze fixed on the guard. The weight of his past, wars fought, losses borne, lifted slightly, replaced by a flicker of hope. His steps as he walked away were lighter, buoyed by the guard's selfless act. Through this respect, the guard not only protected a man, but honored a legacy, proving that dignity, once earned, can be renewed by those who recognize its worth. Before the grand facade of a royal palace, a royal guard stood motionless, his red tunic and bearskin hat a striking contrast to the bustling plaza, where tourists snapped photos and murmured in awe at his stillness. That calm broke when a thug pushed through, his loud voice slicing the air. "What's the matter, big guy?" Too scared to talk, he taunted the guard with shoves and sneers, knocking his hat askew. Yet the guard remained silent, his resolve a quiet fortress against the aggression. The crowd watched, tense, as the thug's provocations grew, until an elderly veteran intervened, saying, "That's enough." When the thug raised a fist to strike the older man, the guard's stillness vanished. His hand seized the thug's wrist midair, forcing him to his knees with calm, unyielding strength. "My duty is to protect," he said simply, holding firm until security took over. What followed was remarkable. The crowd, once frozen in unease, erupted into murmurs of disbelief, then applause. "Did you see that?" one whispered. "He stopped it like it was nothing." Phones rose higher, capturing the guard's composed power, while a father told his son, "Real strength isn't about anger, it's about control." A woman marveled, "He didn't lose his cool. That's what heroes do." Even the hesitant were moved. A man told his wife, "He didn't just stand there, he protected someone." The veteran's gratitude, "You showed us what it means to stand for something," echoed their awe. As the thug was led away, the guard resumed his post, silent again. Yet his quiet resolve had transformed the plaza. His actions, deliberate and selfless, rippled outward, inspiring strangers to reflect on courage and duty. In a world of noise, his silent strength spoke loudest, leaving an indelible mark on all who witnessed it. The story of the Royal Guard offers timeless lessons for us as we navigate our later years. First, true strength isn't about reacting to every slight. It's in the quiet discipline we cultivate over decades, choosing battles wisely rather than lashing out. Like the Guard, we can stand firm amid life's provocations, saving our energy for what truly matters. Second, our duty to protect others, whether family or strangers, often outweighs personal pride. A reminder that the respect we've earned through years of hard work shines brightest when we lift others up. Third, honor comes through actions, not words. A small gesture, like helping a neighbor or listening to a friend, can echo louder than boasts. Finally, courage isn't loud. It's the steady resolve we show in tough moments, inspiring those around us, just as the Guard moved the crowd. For us seniors, these lessons translate to living with purpose, staying calm when tempers flare, protecting the vulnerable in our communities, and letting our deeds reflect the wisdom of our years. In a noisy world, our quiet strength can still light the way, proving that age brings not just experience, but a powerful legacy of grace and impact.